Welcome to the final tier list of 2023. We are having technical difficulties in this video, and that's why I'm going to just tell you a lot of things that happened right before. So we're just going to run through. Contenders are teams that, when it comes down to it, I think are actually going to win it all. These should be the conference finals. This is what I expect the conference finals to be. Elite teams are teams that have been very, very good, but they still are unproven in the playoffs, or they're just not better than the teams that are contenders, simply put. And then good teams are teams that have been good all year. We all know that they might not win a playoff series, but they should make the playoffs because they're a good team. Then shaking my head, it's the most disappointing teams of the year. Not terrible are teams that have, they're not trash, but they're not disappointing because we didn't expect much from them anyways. Might have overachieved in a little bit of ways. And then trash, this is where I leave you off with the actual start of the video. Let's just start in trash. First team we got is the Spurs. The only good thing about this team is Victor Wembanyama. I mean, do I need to say much else? They've been horrific. The Hornets have not had LaMelo, and they have not been winning. They're on an 11-game losing streak currently. The Washington Wizards, they're terrible. The Portland Trailblazers, Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simon, they have good players. Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons, Shaedon Sharpe, Jeremy Grant, Malcolm Brogdon have all been good. They just can't win games, but they're not supposed to be good anyways, so they're trash, but I'm not mad about it. And Detroit Pistons, I'm not even talking about them. Shaking my head. The Phoenix Suns, they were contenders. It was them and the Nuggets as contenders for my preseason, since I'm a Suns fan. Oh my goodness, we are horrific. We've been better of late. We're on a 4-game win streak. Doesn't mean we've played anybody, but we've won 4 games in a row. We can't stay healthy. We can't defend. We're struggling, so I'm worried, but I'm also disappointed, and that's why we're down here in the shaking my head tier. And then we got the Golden State Warriors. They are, you know what? Actually, we'll just move this right here because these teams are clearly worse than the teams here, but they've been disappointed. Anyways, Golden State Warriors. This is probably one of the biggest disappointments for everybody in the NBA because a lot of people expected them to have some decency. Right now, they're not even in the playoffs, so it's just been really bad. The young players are outperforming the vets, but the vets are still getting more minutes, which that's not a recipe for success. Play the better players. The better players have not been the older players, and that's what's hurting them. The Atlanta Hawks have just been so disappointing. I had them in elite. I thought they were going to be a top 6 team in the East. They have been anything but that. It's been really dreadful of a season for them. So that's why I have them in the shaking my head tier. The Chicago Bulls, well, now I'll go not terrible. Chicago Bulls with Zach LaVine would be in shaking my head, but without him, they've actually been quality. So they stay in not terrible. That's fine, right? The Nets, not terrible. Didn't really have an expectation for them anyways. They've lost a lot of games they should have won. They've also won a lot of games they should have lost. So, yeah, whatever. Toronto Raptors would be in the shaking my head tier, but they finally chose a direction, and that direction is to rebuild as they traded OG Anunoby for RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley. Now they got a bunch of young players. They got a good young team around Scotty Barnes. Now they just need to trade Siakam, but I really do like what the Raptors are doing rebuilding, so I'm not mad about having them in the not terrible tier. Then the Rockets. You could say shaking my head because of how streaky of a team they are. They're currently 500, maybe 16-15. I don't exactly know. They've been so streaky. They'll win 3 games one week, they'll lose 3 the next, and it's just like that. It's really streaky, but they're a young team. Wasn't expecting them to be a good team or elite team, so I can't say I'm disappointed in them, but I also can't say they've been good or trash because they're way better than the 5 teams down here. Then the Utah Jazz, they've been very shocking. They've been better than I expected, so I like them here. Then the Memphis Grizzlies, not terrible. Ja Morant being here, they're probably a good team, but without them, they're probably a trash team. I'm not disappointed in them, so they can't be in shaking my head. Then we got the good tier. Do we want to start here in the West, or do we want to start in the East? We'll start with the Mavericks right here. Dallas Mavericks. Kyrie Irving has not played a lot this year. Luka Doncic has been the second best player in basketball. You can argue with me if you want, but it's the truth. And I say this as someone that despises Luka. I do not like watching him play the game of basketball. I do not like rooting for the Mavericks. I do not like watching the Mavericks as a team, even though I do love Kyrie Irving. But he hasn't played, so, I mean, yeah. I mean, they did lose by 37 to the Jazz last night, so that's brutal. Then we got the Pelicans, in-season tournament win. Well, first off, Mavericks can't be elite unless they get more players defensively, since they just struggle to win games because they only have Luka and Kyrie. Like, it's, I don't know. This team isn't elite, but they're good since they've been winning games. I'll just leave it at that. New Orleans Pelicans, they have been streaky, very streaky. Could honestly say shaking your head about them because they've been streaky, but they've also impressed in the ways of winning certain games, but they only won one in-season tournament game, so you can't really be like, oh yeah, the Pelicans, they've been so good. Like, you have to chill out because, like, you can't put them in elite, even though they've had flashes of being elite, but yeah, they have to stay good. Zion Williamson has not been their best player this year. Probably hasn't even been top 2 since McCollum and Ingram have been very good. But obviously Zion is the best player, but, like, I don't know. Statistically, you look at it, Zion has not been. But, yeah, whatever. I could be wrong when I'm saying that, and y'all could be bashing me for that. But that's just how I feel personally, since he's been disappointing. But they've been hurt as a team, so they have to, like, they haven't reached their max potential, if that makes sense. Then the Sacramento Kings, we got the Kings hoodie on. De'Aaron Fox is my favorite player. I don't know how you can be underrated when you average 30 points a game, but that's what we live in. That's the world we live in with him right now. But no one wants to give him any credit for averaging 30 points a game on a team that is very defensively challenged, which is why they can't be an elite team. They can't guard anybody. Trade for Dorian Finney-Smith, trade for Pascal Siakam, trade for somebody that can help boost this defense, because Harrison Barnes is not the answer long term at the 4 position for defense, or the 3 position, whichever one you want to say he plays, because Keegan Murray's staying there for the long haul. Kevin Huerter, not ideal, but yeah. The Kings have to be good. I can't say they're elite, and I can't say they're a contender, because Sabonis come playoff time, if he does what he did last year, we're going to have a serious talk, because that was dreadful. But yeah, they stay in the good tier. And then on the Eastern Conference side, we start with Orlando Magic, who are probably the 5th best team in the East when it's all said and done, if you ask me. Paolo and Franz have been very, very good, yes. But this team has not made the playoffs in like 3-4 years. Maybe 5, I don't know. But they haven't made the playoffs. Paolo's in his 2nd year, Franz is in his 3rd. They're a very inexperienced team. They don't have a single person besides Gary Harris, I think, and Joe Ingles, who have played in the playoffs ever. So when it gets to the playoff time, I don't expect the Magic to really do much. I do think they will make the playoffs, obviously, unless something crazy happens. But they're not going to win a playoff series, so I can't say they're an elite or a contender team. So yeah, that's why they're there and not higher, even though a lot of people would say they should be higher. But I don't think they're going to win a playoff series. And the same goes for the New York Knicks, unless they get matched up against, I don't even know. Maybe if the Magic are the 3 seed and the Knicks are the 6 seed, they'll win. But the Knicks just got OG Anunoby to address their horrific defense. The defense has been horrific. They do not have any depth, in my opinion. Tom Thibodeau is going to burn out all their players. It is going to hurt them in the long run. So I do worry down the stretch for them, but I do like the fit of OG Anunoby. Did not like them getting rid of quickly, since now they have to find where that offense is coming from off the bench, because they definitely don't got anybody that can create for themselves off the bench. And Randall and Brunson are really your only offensive playmakers at this moment in time. So I do worry for their offense, unless they make a trade, which if they make a trade, I'll have a different opinion on the OG Anunoby trade. But for now, I'm not a fan of it. simply because of how much worse they got offensively to sacrifice for defense. Even though OG Anunoby, I do love OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby is great, but they did give up two really good players for them, and it's going to hurt them long term. But for now, I guess it's a good move. It's a wait and see. But if OG doesn't re-sign, they really screwed the pooch. And I know a lot of people are saying in my comment section that OG Anunoby is not going anywhere. If he doesn't go anywhere, I'll have a different opinion on this. But for now, I can't say for sure. I mean, there's a lot of players who said they're going to stay put and then leave. So don't be so sure. Don't believe everything you hear. Don't believe it till it happens. I mean, it's the NBA. It's a business before anything. OG Anunoby's going to want money, even if that's not with the Knicks. Cleveland Cavaliers have somehow managed to stay above water despite not having Mobley, Mitchell, or Garland basically all year. Mobley's not been the player I expected. Well, no, I mean, he's been what I expected. He just hasn't been what I wanted him to be when he's played. But all three of those players have been hurt, and they've somehow managed to stay above water. Beats me on how, but this team is really dealing with that injury bug, and they're a good team. They're not an elite team because they don't win enough games. And let's be honest, no one's scared about the Cavaliers. But Donovan Mitchell has been the second best. Actually, no. Donovan Mitchell has probably been the best shooting guard in the NBA this year, if you ask me. He's been better than Booker. I say that as a Suns fan. Booker's been disappointing me a little bit this year. So, yeah, that's what I have to say about that. And then we got the Indiana Pacers. They need a co-star for Halliburton. They're not going to keep doing what they're doing. They changed up their starting lineup, though, and it's helped. It's paid dividends. They're currently on a 4-game win streak. But that's only 4 games, and a lot can happen. They're also a very streaky team. Like, they won the in-season tournament, and then they lost the next 4 games. They made it to the in-season tournament finals, and then they lost the next 4 games they played. So it's like they're really streaky. But I do like them as a team. I did say they're going to be a top 4 team in the East. Obviously, that was a bold take. It was a very hot take, to say the least. But you know what? I'm not going to complain about it because my channel used to be called Bold Hoops with Jay Hoopa. It's just Jay Hoopa now, so now I don't have to be bold. Now I can say what I want to say, and what I want to say is that if the Pacers get a player like Siakam, they'll be dangerous because he'll boost their defense and their offense, and he's a great co-star for Tyrese Halliburton, and I would really love to see that. But the Pacers, as of right now, they're just not better than the Cavs, Knicks, Magic, Sixers, Heat, Bucks, or Celtics. But they're better than the Hawks, Bulls, etc. You know what I mean. But yeah, I do like the Pacers. They're just a good team. They're not an elite team. And now we got elite teams, and I know a lot of y'all have been waiting for this, for my explanation for why the Timberwolves, Thunder, and Clippers, more specifically, why the Timberwolves and Thunder are not contenders. Timberwolves not sold on the front court of Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert. Say what you want. They've been very good this regular season. They're the best team in the regular season in the West. Actually, the Thunder might be better than them now. But they've been the best team consensusly in the Western Conference in the regular season. And that is because of their defense. Well, Karl-Anthony Towns will get exposed on defense when they go to the playoffs because he is not a 4 on defense. He is a 5 on defense. So is Rudy Gobert. It's not going to work out well for them come playoff times. Since you think about it, they could win a playoff series. I would expect the Timberwolves to win a playoff series. The only team that they might end up playing that would beat them, the Lakers will probably be a play-in team again. And the Timberwolves will be the 1 or 2 seed. They'll probably play the Lakers first round and lose. But let's just use this as an example. The Lakers and Timberwolves matched up. Who is Karl-Anthony Towns going to guard? It would probably be LeBron James or Taurean Prince or Cam Reddish, a perimeter player. That's a terrible matchup. Now, they play the Nuggets. You have to guard Aaron Gordon, maybe KCP. I mean, we saw it last year. We don't need to talk about it. The Thunder, you would have to guard a perimeter player. The Clippers, you guard Terrence Mann, who made Rudy Gobert look stupid when he was on the Jazz. Or he'd have to guard Kawhi Leonard. Oh my, that's not a recipe for success. They played the Mavericks. I could tell you what the Mavericks would do to the Timberwolves. They just run pick and roll with whoever Cat's guarding and Luka and get the switch, and Luka would just try and expose them. The Pelicans, he'd have to guard Zion. That's not good. Kings, he'd be fine. The Suns, his matchups, either Grayson Allen or Kevin Durant. Like, he's going to get exposed in the playoffs. This team's going to get exposed in the playoffs. I really hate to say it. So I'm really rooting for the Timberwolves, but it's not going to work out with this 2 7-footers. Like, name the last time 2 7-footers started in the same lineup and played heavy minutes together. Now, I know there's been times where 2 7-footers have started, but did they play heavy minutes like they're relying on Gobert and Cat to play? No. The only way they win it, go to the conference finals, is if Anthony Edwards is prime Michael Jordan. And he very well could be. But as of right now, what I'm seeing, they're not a contender just yet. Now, they're really good. They're a great team, but they're not a contender. And I hate to say it. The OKC Thunder are in the same boat. Because when I look at the box score and when I watch games, because I do recaps every week on my channel, every Monday. But I see the Thunder. I look at the box score. They get out-rebounded just about every game. They have no size. This team has literally the opposite of the Timberwolves. They have no size. You match up with the Timberwolves. Timberwolves are going to bully you down low. Match up against the Nuggets. They're going to bully you. Not to say Chet's terrible. Chet's going to be good. He's really scrawny, though. But it's not even him. It's the power forward position that they're so small at. The Lakers, they got size. Clippers, they're just more tougher, more physical than them for right now. Mavericks, now. Pelicans, yeah. Who's going to stop Zion and Valanciunas on the Thunder team? So it's the complete opposite with the Thunder for me. That's why I worry about them. But if they were to trade for somebody on the Jazz by the name Lauri Markkanen, some concerns would go down. But I still can't say they're contenders because they do have a big weakness that can get exploited very easily. But they have been great in the regular season. And it really does suck that I have to put the top 2 teams in the Western Conference here. But tier list, talking about contenders, are not power rankings. And regular season literally almost doesn't matter. I mean, it's proven playoff players. These teams are not proven playoff teams. And they have big weaknesses. The Clippers have a weakness of street clothes because James Harden will probably end up in street clothes because he'll give up or get hurt. We already know Paul George and Kawhi Leonard's story. They do got a bunch of dogs on the Clippers team. That's why they're up here and not down on good. Since I do think the Clippers are going to probably make it to the second round. They could win a play. They can make it to the conference finals, but I don't have confidence in it because they haven't proven that they're going to go back there and stay healthy. And the West is too crowded this year anyways. Then we got the Miami Heat. Miami Heat are the 4th best team in the Eastern Conference right now in regular season terms. And they are I would say they're the 3rd best team come playoff time. You see the 76ers here. I have more confidence in the Heat than the Sixers in the playoffs. That's just how it is. And then the 76ers, we'll talk about them right now. 76ers are an elite tier because they've been really good all season. They have the best player in basketball. Embiid is the best player. He averaged 40 points in the month of December. I shouldn't have to comment on that, should I? I hope not. But yeah, they're an elite team. And then the contenders, we'll talk about every one of them quick, but the Lakers, since I know I need to explain myself here. We got the Celtics as a contender. Celtics are very, very good. They're the best team in the NBA on paper. They don't win the NBA championship, I'm going to be very, very disappointed. and they're a super team. They're absolutely loaded. The Bucks, they have been dreadful all year in the media's eye, but they're 24-9. So yeah, what happens when they click? They're gonna win. And then the Nuggets. Nuggets are the defending champs. Only concern I have with them is injuries, but I mean, you give them a pass. Every team, there's injuries on any team, they're gonna go down. Like, it's that simple. But yeah. And now for the Lakers, the last team we'll talk about. Called the Lakers contenders the last time I did one of these tier lists, and people got mad at me, and they won the end season tournament. You know why? It's because their players all elevate in the playoffs and any type of playoff atmosphere. And that's why they're contenders, because they have LeBron James, they have Anthony Davis, and they have a bunch of guys that feed off of environments and feed off of energy. And that's exactly what you get come playoff time. That's exactly what you're going to get from the Lakers when it's time for the playoffs, when the lights are shining brightest. And that's why, if I were to bet right now, I would say these are the 4 teams we see in the conference finals next year. And then, yeah. Then I'd probably say the Timberwolves, and I don't know, I'd say the Thunder. See, I really hate doing this to the Timberwolves. I just feel like they're going to get exploited in the playoffs. I really hope they don't, though. But yeah, I would say these are the next teams. I would say the Heat over the Bucks if something else were to change, repeat of last year. But yeah, this is what I got right now. I will make another one of these after the trade deadline. So I hope y'all enjoyed this. Let me know what you think. Let me know who your contenders are. But yeah, we're not going to agree on everything. I already know that. So let these comments fire away. Be respectful about it. And yeah, have a good one. Bye. And if you want to watch my weekly recap, I have the video on the screen. It's the Thunder are legit contenders. And yeah, I kind of just killed that whole argument on this, didn't I? Well, I guess you got to go hear what I said, don't you?